To prepare for this etude, I'm going to practice a couple exercises in C major. First, let's start with our C major triad. We're going to start in the middle of our range on the C that's in the third space of the staff. You want to get a good solid starting tone, and then we're going to go down to the G, E, and then the low C. From that low C now, I'm going to start and go all the way up to the top part of the range. I'm trying to get a great sound on each note as I go up. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the higher fingerings, we have the C above the staff, and then above that we have an E, which is 1, 2, 1, 2. And then we have the high G, which doesn't use the thumb. There's no thumb on that G. So it's just like our regular G, except for we take off the thumb. And then the high C is fingered with 1, 2, 3, pinky, and then the first finger down here. Either nothing on the pinky, or you can hit this gizmo key, which puts down that last one. Okay, so it's that one. You can put down that. Or I prefer to use a half hole for this one. On my flute, it just happens to make it the correct pitch. It's not too sharp then. So we're going to go up now in triplets all the way through. You want to have really good control of the fingers throughout all of this, as well as great tone. You might have noticed while I was playing that triad exercise that my lips actually move when I go from the lower notes to the higher notes. So when I'm playing a low note, my embouchure looks, and I'm aiming the air far out in front of me but low to the ground. And then when I'm in the middle register, it's pretty much straight ahead towards me in sort of an E position, so that sort of position. But then when I go up to the higher register, my lips start kissing out and just ooh position. See if I can get closer. So it sort of shoots the air higher and more in front of me. Might look silly when I'm doing it, but it really does help the tone so that we don't get any pinched sounds when we get up to the top. If you ever hear that really brittle sound with a lot of air in it, it's probably because your lips are too tight for the exercise and for that high register. So you want to try and keep the lips as loose as possible, but still create a great sound. This next exercise we're going to use is a scale exercise that can be found in the Tufnell and Gobert book. It's Tufnell and Gobert number 4, so in the daily exercises book. We're going to do the exercise in C major, slowly. that exercise, it's great to practice your scales in the traditional pattern. It's great to do that pattern, but it's much better to have a more winding pattern that goes around and turns around on different scale degrees other than just the tonic pitches. So that's that first pitch, that C. We want to turn around at different parts of the scale. So that's why that pattern happens to work better. Take it slowly and make sure that you've got some really great control of the fingerings throughout the scale. And then once you feel comfortable with that, you can try it in the second octave. The first thing I'm going to work on in this etude is to try and get that correct shape of the line using the skeleton pitches. So first in our pickup measure and then measure 1, we're going to play those notes as half notes. So I'm going to play a C half note, an E half note, a G half note, and an A half note. And I want to get this nice crescendo evenly paced throughout that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. This emphasizes the good tone that you need to use throughout this entire exercise. Regardless of which tempo you are playing it at, you want to have all of these phrases to have a beautiful shape and a clear contrast between when you're playing piano, forte, or you're making a crescendo to one of those two dynamics. The next passage we're going to look at is at the end of the second line. And in this, we have this large leap between C and A, but it's at a piano dynamic, and we want to keep it as smooth as possible. So in order to do that, I'm going to step up to that A and try and get my lips to make the air go as smoothly as possible without any sudden jumps in the air. Okay, you want it to keep it as calm as possible. So here's C, D flat, C to D, C to E flat, once you find a good tone on the middle C, third space C, up to that A without any bumps. We do not want this. You do not want to push more air to get that A out. Instead, you want to use your lips to sort of kiss out that top note, sort of move your lips forward like I described earlier in the video. Once you have that, we're going to play that measure slowly, starting at the E. You want to keep a nice sound throughout, and notice I'm practicing this very slowly with a great sound. Then maybe I would go a little bit faster. Be careful not to push the air on that high A. The key to getting this smooth, to keeping the line very smooth, is moving the lips. The lips must move and change the direction of the air. The air for the C natural is going straight ahead, whereas for the A, it should be slightly lifted and you should be blowing above your stand just a little bit. Next, I'd like to look at this weaving passage. Here we have something that's very different than what we have been playing before, where we have this scale that just sort of winds around. Now, in order to learn this, I need to put it in a rhythmic context. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I know that I'm going to breathe after that C on the downbeat. So I'm not going to practice starting on the C. Instead, I'm going to practice starting on the B. And I'm going to think of it as E and 1, or I'm sorry, E and 2, down to that B. So B to B. E and 2, E and 1. And I landed on that C. Just going to practice that much for right now. So it's E and 2, E and 1. And again, trying to keep the air as calm as possible. Here's just with the fingers, and E and 1, E and 1. And again, in E and 2, E and 1. And play, and keep the fingers close to the keys and as calmly as possible. You only want those fingers moving up and down. Do not let them wiggle around. They should only be going in one plane of motion. Next, I'm going to start on that downbeat, and I'm going to go from the C to the next downbeat. So I need 1 E and 2 E and 1, and go. Make sure you've got that C sharp at the end of the bar. The C sharp carries all the way through the bar. So 1 E and 2 E and 1, and go. Next, I have 1 E and. Now, if you're taking that breath there, you can just practice going to there. But I'm going to go on because I don't take a breath there. So I go 1 E and 2 E and 1, and go. Again, that D sharp stays throughout the bar. Now, if this is too slow for you, just move it up a little bit, but you want to keep the accuracy and keep the rhythm. The rhythm must be precise. So let's try it. 1 E and 2 E and 1, and go. You notice that I'm counting this in cut time. Okay, I'm using that cut time counting because I like to think of this piece in 2 as opposed to in 4. If we go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, and that's fine. But it's better if we can go 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2. It just helps the piece flow a little bit better. So here it is again from the D to the E natural. It's 1 E and 2 E and 1, and go. And let's finish it off to the C. 1 E and 2 E and 1, and go. If you feel secure with that at that tempo, try and bump up the tempo. But that is one of the stumbling blocks. So if you need it to go faster, we'll go back from the beginning. E and 1, E and 1, and 1, and I keep thinking that rhythm. E and 2, E and 1. Now the next one, 1 E and 2 E and 1. And again. Next it's 1 E and ta ta ta, and go. And the last one, 1 E and 1 E and 1, and go. The last passage that we're going to look at is the passage that has all the leaps in it. It should be probably the second line from the end. Here we have a G that sort of drones. It's what we call a drone pitch. And then we have this other melody on top. So to practice this, I'm going to hold that low G there. I'm ignoring that first C, and I'm just going to play the G. Once you find a great sound on the G, then I want you to try and go up to the other notes. But hold that G for as long as you need to before you go up and quickly play the other note. So. You'll notice that I am pausing on that G. I'm putting fermatas on the G. I do not move off of the G until I know that I can come back to the next G without any hesitation. So I go G, E G, F G, B G, C G, and etc., etc. I would do the same thing for the next set up an octave.
must move your lips in order to get those higher notes to come out. In both octaves, we want to go E, ooh, E, and move the lips out for the ooh part, okay? For those higher notes, your lips should be moving up and moving the air higher. Now we would try it a little bit faster. Lastly, you want to put this in a rhythmic context. So I'm going to think E and a, 2 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 1. Hold on to that G. You're always going to come back to that G. It never changes. So it's E and a, 2 E and a, 1 and 2 and. And then this next part, E and a, 2 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 1 and 2 and. You want to keep your lips as open as possible for those high E and the high F. If you pinch your lips down, you might have something happen where it gets that brittle sound. You do not want that. Keep the lips open and try and move them out and forward to get a great sound all the way through. If that's easy for you, then you need to just bump up the tempo and do E and a, 2 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, ready, and. I try and play that entire passage in one breath. So I breathe after the C at the beginning of the line and then the C in the last measure.
I hope you found this video helpful. If you did and would like some more help, please feel free to contact me at Mississippi State University. The email address and contact information is below. Thanks so much and good luck.